It being 6:03, I'll call to order the meeting of the Carver Redevelopment Authority for February 17th, 2022. We're meeting in room 4. It is being taped by Area 58 and will be available on their website and YouTube. We have kind of a quick meeting tonight because one of our members has to go do something else, attend another meeting. So we will jump right into it. The Route 44 discussion and updates. You went to the last working group, right, Savory?
I went to the last working group.
Okay.
You're on.
You're up.
I know I am.
If I don't leave with Savory, then I don't know how to start the meeting.
I just find the agenda here.
After we do this section, I'll move you up.
Okay.
Who's that?
Who's that?
There weren't many. There weren't many updates at the last working group meeting. We were basically just saying that we were going to have another meeting with Hillwood at the fire department, where they were going to go over the fiscal impact study and also traffic and the community benefits agreement. And that had been scheduled for a couple of days afterwards. That was on the 19th. We met on the morning of the 18th. That was on Wednesday afternoon, the 19th, that we did that. And you were at that.
I was at that
Sharon.
meeting.
It was a pretty quick meeting, the working group meeting.
I think at this point that we're focused on the town meeting, which is in about 6 weeks, and the police, fire, and safety chiefs are drilling down on their mitigation agreements, hoping to have that completed at some point pretty soon.
Right.
And so that took us to, we had a very well-attended meeting of...
I need to go back. I need to finish. I didn't finish because I was looking at the wrong thing.
See,
frankly.
I do that. Ron does that to me.
I had the wrong date. We talked about the MOU.
Yep.
Which was presented to Hillwood on the 19th, which we'll talk about. Mark Townsend said that the select board may have a special meeting, may need to have a special meeting to put this on the warrant. The police chief wanted one thing in the agreement fixed, and that was that there was language in there that said the agreement would be voided if the zoning bylaws amendments were not passed. Mm-hmm. And Hillwood agreed to that. And we had a bit of an open discussion on the fiscal impact assessment, but since not many people could make head or tails out of it, we waited till we got Judy on the Zoom call the following day. So that was it from our February 8th meeting. The next working group meeting is Tuesday, March 1st.
Yeah, I'll plan on going to that.
So do you understand the impact study?
We have a little bit better look at it, but it's not the pieces that are needed to put the whole thing together aren't going to be known until after town meeting.
Really? Voting those articles?
Yeah, because that's going to determine what goes there.
Right.
Okay.
And that has a lot to do with the personal property taxes. If it's a larger building, they're going to be able to put more expensive equipment inside it.
Those persons that, when you begin reading it, that first group of numbers is personal property, does that number come out every year? Is that how that works? It's 3 million something.
That's the property tax.
That's the property tax.
Personal property tax is the value of the things that are purchased.
Oh, okay. But the property tax, does that come back to Carver every year?
It should, yes.
Pretty substantial.
Well, it's just like property
I mean,
tax
she
on a
does
house.
have another,
I give mine to Carver every year.
yeah, well, she does have another, group of things where she makes some deductions. I read through it, I don't want to brag, but I know a lot about that. Well, I'm reading it, that's how come I know a lot about it, but I'm not, it's not,
Well-
we need to have some introduction, I think, as well as you, as a
Well, we will
group.
get to that when we talk about the
Yeah.
meeting that was last Wednesday,
Good.
because we
Right.
did have Judy on Zoom.
Oh,
She
good,
did
on Zoom.
Go through it with all of us.
All right,
But we'll get to
great.
that.
Good.
So that's it from the working group meeting of the February 8th.
And our next meeting is March 1st, and I said I'd be there.
Right.
Did you do the traffic one yet?
Yes. I have information on that.
Oh, okay.
Did you get the plans that they said they were going to send? The new plans for the traffic?
Yes,
Okay,
I did.
glad somebody's on top of this.
Again, it's, the first takeaway from the traffic impact study is that regardless of the height of the building, the numbers are the same.
We had, at this next meeting on the next day, we had Kathleen, I forgot her last name,
From VHB?
from VHB, and she did Keene, and did a kind of a deep dive into the traffic study, and that's what, the meeting on the Wednesday, was it? That was really well attended. And her review of the traffic study was really quite enlightening, and you can sum it up probably better than I can, because you took notes.
Well, I took notes, but there were things that I wanted
Is
to...
it you or me?
Not
I
me.
think it's me. Is it you?
It was,
I don't get 7 texts a day.
yeah, except when you're in a meeting, right?
God.
Basically, just going briefly through it, and I did get the revised traffic study with the numbers that I had asked
Yep.
for, as opposed to just percentages. They basically, they studied 12 intersections, 12 current intersections, 10 of which are in Carver, from Plymouth Street up to, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. 8 of which are in Carver, from Plymouth Street up to the Carver-Plimpton line. They did the Montello Street entrance in Plimpton, the intersection with the traffic light in Plimpton, Route 105 on 44 in Middleborough, and the traffic circle in Middleborough. And the other 8 were in Carver, and it was Aubuchon, the 3 entrances to 44 and exits, Shaw's, High Street, and Plymouth Street. And they based all of their numbers on the standard trip generation manual prepared by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is the go-to group that does this for a business. That's what they're in business for. And the numbers that they received and put in their report were peer-reviewed by Serped and vetted. So it's, the numbers are good. What they did was they gave maps of where traffic is expected to go. And the expectation is that, let me just look here. On a daily basis, there are going to be about 8,000 additional cars. And on a daily basis, approximately 450 trucks.
400, how many?
50 trucks. Of that, the car distribution, 32% of those would be on Route 58 South, because they're expecting that people from Carver will work there. 23% will go west on 44, 16% will go east on 44, 12% will go north on 58, and 17% will take other routes such as Plymouth Street, East and West, and High Street. And so the car distribution clearly is Carver-centric, and that's primarily because of employment, their expected employment. Truck distribution of 458 trucks a day, 61% is expected to go east on 44. 36% is expected to go west on 44. 2% is expected to go north on 58, and 1% is expected to go south on 58, which is approximately one truck every half hour. One additional truck every half hour. So, from the standpoint of percentage increases, they did numbers at two locations. They did it north of the intersection of 58, sort of right where Aubuchon is, and they did another one south of 58, around where Shaw's is. So, daily, right now, in cars, there are approximately 12,000 cars a day that go up 58. This is between 44 and Plimpton. And they're expecting an increase daily of 7,800, and for a total of almost 20,000. And that's a 64% increase of cars daily. South of 44, and that little section includes everything, all the traffic that's going onto 44, east and west, coming out of Montella Street.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's where they're marking it. So that's why it's such a big increase there, because there's nowhere else for those trucks to go.
Right, okay.
South of 44, there are currently, this is on the Shaw's side of 44, there are currently 17,500 cars a day. They're expecting an additional 5,000, and that would bring it up to 22,500, which is about a 20% increase in traffic. Trucks, on the other hand, trucks north of 44, there are currently 634. They're expecting an additional 464 a day for 1,098. That's a 73% increase, and that's on that strip between the Montella Street entrance and 44. South of 44, there are currently 102 trucks, daily there are 910 trucks a day. They're expecting an increase of 70 to make it 980 trucks a day, which is an 8% increase.
Can I just ask you a question? When you say trucks, you're not talking about F-150 trucks?
No, I'm
You're
talking about
the
semis.
The big ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're expecting about an 8% increase in trucks south of 44 to what the current levels are now.
South? South?
South of 44.
Through the middle of my town?
Yes, the projected is,
Where are they all going today? To the dump?
it's 70 trucks a day. That's 3 an hour.
I mean, I know they go to Rochester.
That's fewer trucks than we see.
And I saw Cisco.
Cisco
I
goes
saw
by all the time.
Cisco, yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
depending
them.
on the season, I mean, we get a bunch on Purchase Street, like the cranberry bogs.
The cranberry
that are down
bogs, yeah.
Into Middleborough right there.
Yes.
They're pretty big enterprises. I mean, we probably get a couple trucks an hour during cranberry season on Purchase Street.
Yeah,
During the season?
yeah.
Oh, that's right, we forgot about that.
So they had a use chart of what the traffic expectation is for a warehouse, for an office complex, and for a research and development
Oh,
different uses.
they did that, oh, good.
The warehouse, which is the proposed project, shows a daily increase in overall traffic of 8,400 vehicles a day. An office park has a increase in traffic of 14,100 vehicles a day. And a research and development area would have a daily vehicle count of 17,400, which is 107% more than what the warehouse would be. So, other people have said that there are ideas about different uses for this, and there are
Wait.
some that are uses by right.
1 second, 84,000 or 8,400?
No,
8,400, right?
8,400.
For the distribution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the research would be 17,400?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
'Cause it's much more employee-centric. It's office space. You're not filling a building with material, you're filling it with people.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they did break it down into timeframes, like morning
Well, they
rush
did,
hour.
yeah, but I went with the
Yeah,
daily. I mean,
just
I
go with
have
the
it on my
daily.
Just
phone.
go with the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, just for tonight. And they also monitored, they did traffic studies at certain intersections after the infrastructure is changed, including the lights, redoing the intersection of 44 and 58 with 2 lanes and traffic lights. And the new Montello Street would be better than it is now. Aubuchon would be better than it is now. 44 East would be better than it is now. 44 West, North Montello Street, Shaw's, Plymouth Street, 105, and the traffic circle would be the same, and High Street would be a little bit worse, because High Street doesn't have a light,
yeah.
and it's that left-hand turn.
Oh, when you're coming out of High Street and you
Right.
want to go to
Well,
Shaw?
yes, and you want to go the other way.
The other way,
Yeah.
Right.
right, no problem,
Yeah.
but if you want to
So-
go, oh, yeah. that-
So of all the
okay.
intersections they looked at, only High Street has a tendency to have worse numbers after the project is done. So that's a quick overview of the traffic study. It was really well done.
Is there something in some kind of a copy that's going to be given to you? Us?
I have it.
Us?
Yeah.
I just got it yesterday.
Okay.
We can
Yeah.
share it.
That would be nice.
Is it on the long paper? Do we need to get, I mean, the the plans that she had were, right.
This is the original draft. I
Right.
don't have the
I could
new
take,
one.
would you mind if I took it to Staples?
This is not the right one.
That's not the
Oh,
new one.
not the right one?
That's not the
This
new
is the
one.
first draft.
Oh.
But the numbers came from the third draft.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you don't really have that one yet.
I have electronically, I do not have it paper.
Oh, okay. You want me to go to Staples?
We'll see. I'll send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
We'll go from
Okay,
there.
all right. Sounds good.
So that's it with traffic, but again, it's not part of zoning, it's not part of the amendment, but it's a question that people are going to ask.
And it's also the same, those numbers are the same if it's as of right, without the zoning amendments, or
Right.
if they build the office park or a 40-foot.
Yeah, if you land in one
Yep.
of these 3 categories, of course.
Yep,
Well, no, what Sharon's saying is that if they go with the warehouse, which is what they're trying to do, if the zoning bylaw fails and they
Okay.
don't get to 65 feet.
Correct.
The traffic numbers do not change.
do not change.
Right.
They're the same, because it's the same number of people, the same hours, the same number of trucks in and out.
Judy Barrett also came on a Zoom section, and she went over her report, the fiscal impact study report, and it's still a little, I think it's still a little confusing, but the one thing that came from that was that she just used extremely conservative numbers.
Yep.
And there are some intangibles that we can't simply know until we know what's going in there.
Correct.
So all we have basically is kind of a framework.
Right.
The representative from Hillwood said the cost of the building was likely to be far higher than what she had said.
Right.
And that's what she was basing that on. And then we have the personal property taxes. And then there were some other points that I noticed that were, again, intangible, such as registering the cars for the excise tax here in Carver. That's kind of a big one. And there was also just kind of a one-time bump because we're part of the CPC and Community Preservation Funds, that the tax deed, when it goes on, will likely generate, I don't know what the sale price is, of course, but it could generate up to $700,000 or $800,000 in the tax stamp, which goes into the Carver section of the CPC fund, which I'm not sure where it goes from there. I've asked somebody on the committee to explain it to me, but that's also a bump that comes into the CPC funds, just on the transfer taxes. So we still have a little more work to analyze there, but we have another working group meeting on next week.
March 1st.
March 1st. Is that the week after?
Those are all strong points
Yeah,
that need to come out on the website or wherever, well before the meeting.
they will. I needed to get the numbers.
They will. We
Well
need
before the
to
town
have,
meeting.
we need to have as much factual information and not speculative, and
That's
that's what
right.
we're going for.
Now, Pat, one of your questions was the disparity between the assessed value of the building and the cost of the project.
Yeah.
And the way it was explained is that the cost of the project is how much the project cost to do, including grading, including bringing in the dirt, including paving, including all of the infrastructure. The assessed value of the building is what that building is worth. So there's a lot more money spent getting everything ready
Yeah.
that's included in the cost of the project that is not included in the value of the building. So that's why there was such a disparity. So we asked that specifically.
Yeah, it just seems awful big, but
Well, you know, they've been doing a lot. We already know how much they spent on
Yeah.
buying those properties.
Yeah,
Maybe the road's $4 million bucks. I mean, that's
yeah.
Yeah.
The
a
road,
road. There's a lot of.
How much did they spend?
on buying the property, they spent well over $1 million. I would say it was about 1.4, 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
in-
spent $800,000 as to
As
add
part
on to
of
the
the-
Mass Grant,
yeah.
Mass Grant Fund.
Right,
So,
and that was Route 44.
Yeah, I know.
The launch of the website, it is live. You can reach it by going to the Town of Carver website, where there'll be a link for it under North Carver Project. And the actual address, if you just wanted to type it in, is www.carverrda, all one word, .info.
got it.
2 hours.
2 R's, Carver RDA. So it's all one word, so it's www.carverrda.info. And you can find the information, the FAQs. You can ask a question on the website, we can get an answer back to you. So,
The email is linking, and Paul, I know you sent 6. 6, count them 6. Okay. And I did get them all. I just haven't had a chance to
You got
reply.
mine, you answered
Yes.
me. You got mine.
myself to make sure it worked.
Yes, I know. And we have opened a Facebook page that is called Just the North Carver Project. So, and what we're trying to do is figure out how to get people on the board, give them access to it as administrators. So, you know, if they need to change something or look at something, they can do that. I think what we may need to do is reach out to the administrators of the Carver website pages, because they are the gatekeepers for who can join.
Oh, that's right, yeah, Carver.
So
means
we
Carver.
can't, I mean, we're already on Carver Helping Carver, I think, or Everything Carver. One of the two we're already on.
Oh, really? I'll
We've been
write that down.
admitted to. Well, no, we're there to answer questions. We don't have a presence there.
Oh,
But
okay.
the reason that we did our Facebook page as the North Carver Project is that if people comment or ask questions on Facebook, on one of the 3 pages in Carver that people use, we need to be able to reply to them as the project, not someone
Oh, I
personally.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to have, we've already written the standard boilerplate answers that direct them to the website
Okay.
to get their answers.
Okay.
But we have to be allowed into whichever of the, either Everything Carver or Carver Helping Carver that we're not into yet, and also the Fair and Open Government for Carver. We've got to get permission to join them. So that's next. I got an email today regarding access to Facebook from Courtney. Did you get that, Paul? I'll send it to you. We've got to, we're trying to figure out how to get the people that needed access to it so that we can go in there and
Okay.
answer questions.
Okay.
As the North Carver project, not
You know,
as
that-
someone personally.
Not as
That's quite
your
a
name
feat.
saying, go
Right.
to this place, gotcha.
Right.
When you think of it, that's gonna be quite a feat today. If you think of it, people are gonna go on Facebook, ask a question, it's gonna be,
Well, it's going to be answered by, go here.
Yeah.
that's right, and that's what's
Standard
the
answer,
important
yeah.
part too, as well.
Yeah.
And then it'll be appearing on the website as well.
I mean, I'd like to
As a
have,
question
I'd like to
and
have
an
that
answer.
squared away by the public hearing if we can.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have that squared away by the public hearing.
Oh, I think we'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Sharon,
Yes, sir.
Just one question about the link to the website. I didn't quite follow all that. So I'm on the Carver RDA page, so there's a link from the Carver
I don't know,
RDA
is it there
page
yet?
to your website.
Is it there yet, Paul?
I think it's all the way down at the bottom. It'll say North Carver
Go
Project.
over by quick links,
Yeah.
Carver project.
No, it should be right in the body copy, the top.
I just want, just do your average Joe, just trying to follow along what you said.
Okay.
I just added things just a little bit ago, so I don't know.
And that's on the Carver page?
Yeah, on the town.
The town page.
The
Okay.
bottom of the.
I haven't looked, I frankly haven't looked at that yet. I've been working directly with the link. So, we'll check that out. Okay.
We have a joint meeting with the planning board set for March 2nd at the school auditorium, which will be the public hearing for the zoning amendments being sponsored by the planning board, but it's a joint meeting with us.
2 days?
Well, they've booked 2 days because we're not the only zoning amendments that they'll do hearings
Well, we're
on.
first, right?
I believe we're first. I thought we
I
were
think
number
we are.
11 on the warrant. So I think we're up first. But we'll publish or post a joint meeting. It'll be at the school. We will have Wi-Fi access. And we'll probably have to have, I know Stephen Cole's going to be there. And we'll probably have to have some kind of presentation ready to go.
Well, that's, Sharon and I are meeting with Stephen on Tuesday
Yeah.
to go over a preliminary PowerPoint
Right.
presentation for planning.
Right.
Say that 5 times fast.
But if everyone can have that on their calendar to be there, it could be a long meeting, but, it depends on who comes. I've been talking it up, and we've got some people coming. And it will be in the public notices, and it'll be a very busy week next week.
Saw that email.
Yep,
The public notices are out.
yep,
And again, what we're trying to accomplish is have all the questions asked and answered before
Yep.
town meeting.
yep.
Right.
Bye. Is there anything else on, as we gear into the public hearing?
That's the new interim town administrator and the finance director.
Really? We need some introduction
Yeah,
here.
we'll start our name tags, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, everything is an interim. I mean, I'm learning how to spell that name real good.
And, yes, Mr.
Well, I
Willett.
just wanted to make sure that folks know, because you guys saw it, that the zoning language is also on the website as well, at the planning website.
Oh, okay.
So you can go there and see the articles that are on there.
Oh, okay.
They're published in the newspaper, they're in the town clerk's office, they're in the planning office, but they're also on the website.
Okay, oh, good.
On the town
Go there
website,
and
under
find,
planning.
And find the link to the articles and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So we can
Oh,
put that link on our
that's Mr. Bott?
website.
That's Mr. Bott.
Mr. Bott, my name is Joanna Layton.
I got your email.
You do? Okay.
Yep. Unfortunate that thing, we'll see if we can fix it.
I personally want to come in the town hall to meet you, and I don't really know your hours, but if we can exchange something, I'd like to come in and meet with you.
They keep telling me when you come, they're gonna tell me to head out the back door. I've been forewarned, so.
She's kind of our secret weapon.
I watched the last meeting.
If we send Joanna, somebody's in trouble, so.
Whatever.
We just want to make something right, that's all.
I'm going to use the chairman's discretion, and we're going to jump to the treasurer's report to number 3, because Pat has to
Let's go.
maybe go at 7 to,
I do have to go at 7.
well, you don't have to,
Well, I gotta go upstairs to another meeting,
to the FinCom meeting,
to the
so.
FinCon meeting, right.
So he had some updates that he needed to tell us about.
In any case, what I had said before, that the treasurer's report I would send electronically to everyone, and it would be reflective of the bank statements as to the end of the month. So that's what this is. Just a couple explanations. On the checking account, this shows $3,050.59, but there's 2 outstanding checks that hadn't been cashed before the 31st. So the actual balance there is about $600. The money market RDA savings account, 28,324.83, that's correct. The money market Hillwood review account is at, well, let's save that one till last. The urban renewal plan account, 2564.70, that is correct. It is the Hillwood account is on 126, you'll see a deposit of $8,027.21. That was a check that we received, and it was made out to the RDA. It had our agreement with Hillwood, all signed, a copy of that about the RDA. I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't know what it was. I asked a lot of questions. No one seemed to know. So I deposited it. I just found out today that it's really the reimbursement to the fire department,
Oh, boy.
except they did not write it out to their account. They wrote it out to our account. We're the only ones that could cash it anyway.
Right.
So I will be writing them a check for $8,027.21 to correct that situation. And then I will do because then that'll leave only a little over $3,300 in the Hillwood account, and I will put in for a reimbursement.
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't put in for a reimbursement because the 8,000 brought us
right.
up, and said, okay, we're the only ones that could cash it anyway,
That's right.
Oh, right.
because it was made out specifically.
Redevelopment.
Redevelopment Authority.
But rather than send it
Yes.
back and have them recut a new
Well,
check, so
yeah.
that's,
So I took it, and I figured if it was ours, we'll keep it. If not, it'll show up sometime. So, other than that, we're in good shape. All bills are paid, and we will do another report at the end of February.
okay.
Has the fire chief, did you tell the fire chief that we got his check by mistake?
I talked to him today.
Okay.
There was a little email thread going around today.
All right, as long as he knows.
I called Chief Weston today and said, Chief, I think we got your check. So in fact, I was going to Sue, I also emailed Sue Moquin, who was just here. I was going to tell her that I could, because I want to make sure we've got a very transparent paper trail.
Yeah.
On this. We've got the check coming in, and I want to make sure going out, I want to know the exact wording of who it's to be paid to. And I want to get that correct. They need to, correct that situation with Hillwood, though.
Exactly.
All right. Now, have you reached out to anyone who did you find out the mistake from that was made?
Let me get out of here. Wait a
Well,
minute.
there was an email thread that was going around today, and I was on it.
Okay.
And they were talking about it, and I jumped in and I said, yeah, I cashed that check, yeah.
Was Hillwood involved in that conversation? Was there a representative from Hillwood? I'm trying to find out if they're aware that they made a mistake.
I don't know if there was or not.
his name Gary? Because Gary signed all the agreements that I was working on.
Mac would be the one.
Mac, well, yeah.
Because that's who it goes to. So when I do the reimbursement, I'm going to, email it directly to him.
All right.
And so we've got, about a $17,000 reimbursement coming.
All right. So
Okay.
maybe when you write to him and ask for that reimbursement, you notify him about the mistake that was made with the
Well-
fire department and make sure that they separate the two and get it right.
Well, we got to get that right.
Yeah, well,
Well, yeah, because I don't want them going back through their records and saying, well, what did you do with the last $8,000 we sent you?
Yeah,
So-
but I think that what we've got to do is we'll get it right.
Okay.
I'll go back to like I said, I'm starting with Sue. And we'll take it from there. I think they need to let Elwood know that things were not done correctly. We've fixed them, and from this point forward, they've got to, the reimbursements have to go in the right direction.
in the right buckets, yeah.
Yep.
I do know that Mac is out of the office for the remainder of the week and first of next week. So,
So
It-
we're good, but.
I mean, I would wait so it's not buried, 1,000 emails down in the bottom.
Yeah.
So it just might work to like,
Yeah, we'll
check
be
in with
good.
him next
I mean, we've
week.
got, if we've got to do something from them, we've got plenty of money in it
Okay.
to kind of do some inter-account transfers if we
Okay.
need to. That's a last resort for me.
Yep.
But if we have to, we
Okay.
can do it.
okay,
All right.
thank you. And you'll take care of that, right?
I will take care of it.
All right. Next up is Forest Street. Ms. Layton,
Oh, yeah, that's me.
you go, girl.
Okay, well, we have a P&S. I sent all of it to you guys. Tonight, we need to take a vote to accept the P&S, and with that acceptance, Sharon will date and sign both the P&S as well as the rider, which, let me just check.
Just double check to make sure you
Yeah,
signed
let me
those.
just check here. Dan did sign his side, that's the rider. Dan, oops, can't get that on the part. Dan did sign his side for the P&S.
Okay.
The check, let me just add to it, the check was deposited, we received it, however, the title company, if you read through the agreement, the title company has the deposit. They're the ones that will be keeping it until the closing.
Okay.
So, if I make a motion, is that okay?
Does anybody have any questions right now? We have a sale price, an offer of $175,000. Joanna made sure that he had the funds to pay for it. And we have Kathleen O'Donnell, our own attorney, working on the P&S, so we will be generating some fees with
Yeah,
that.
can I just say too, I personally have spoken with Dan, and Dan's anxious, Mr. Mott, Bott, excuse me, I apologize, to speak with you. I think, I told him that you were interim and you didn't have 100%, he needs to call you and talk with you. He said he has, and I said, I'm sure you'll return his call. His concern is he doesn't know the steps that are necessary. This window of time here is 60 days. He has to perform his diligence within that time frame. Everything has to be done on June 16th. We actually will be closing if everything has been permitted and so forth on June 30th. So it's a tight time frame, and
For planning board.
for planning board, and they're going to be busy if they're not already busy.
And the other, excuse me,
Go
but
ahead.
the other factor in there is that we have a variance from the zoning board for that property for the frontage. And that expires on June 30th. So we want to make sure that he's either done his due diligence and obtained a building permit and can be considered acting upon the variance by the time it expires.
Yeah, if I may.
Yep.
I had a conversation with the building commissioner today because Mr.
Cesare?
DeSera.
Yeah, he and I are operating on the same level of information. Neither of us know what to do.
Oh, okay.
So I checked in with the building commissioner. So it is a special permit and a site plan. It'll have to come before the planning board because I always want to make sure I'm on the same page with the building commissioner. Those things do take time, and I'm aware of the frontage variance as well.
Okay,
So, you know, we talked it up, and he called me back again today, and I'll probably be ringing him tomorrow.
okay,
Good.
good, thank you. We've
Okay.
been trying to sell this property for,
2015.
yeah, at
Okay.
least,
I was going to say 5, so 7.
yeah.
Well, my last statement is this, and I told this to Dan, and I said I was going to repeat it in front of this camera. I told him the town has a stake in this sale, $175,000 minus RDA expenses, minus the back taxes, net. We're going to be turning over to the town just over $100,000. And I believe, and I'm saying this, all boards out there who are involved should take an interest for its success. And I also told Dan that if we ran into a roadblock, Joanna Layton would gladly, part of this RDA, because we want this to be a success and a sale, that if it was necessary and I felt my presence would do some good, I would appear, especially at the planning board. Call on me.
It's been my experience that the time that a permitting operation takes is directly proportional to the applicant's efforts. They have to provide the information, they have to answer the questions. Sometimes you propose a project and there are 5 or 6 comments that are come back from the reviewing engineer. The people who answer those 5 or 6 questions right away move their project along. The people who want to answer 3 of them and fight about the other 4, that takes a while. But irregardless of your interest, irregardless of the passion that you have for the project and how much you like to move it along, you got to hit your stops. It's permitting, it's not discretionary.
Yeah.
You got to hit your stops. And that's why when we get an application, we always put it on as soon as possible for the first meeting, get information out to folks so they can review it and get through to it. So this is my standard business practice for quarter century here in Massachusetts.
But I do want the boards to be involved, that this money that we're going to be receiving is part and parcel will be going back to the town after we take our expenses. So this is not, we're not taking it and putting it in our pockets and doing what we will with it. So, that success truly depends on what they do for Dan.
But to my point, it's not, my business model has always been, it's about what, not about who.
Okay.
If you are, if you are the chosen one and you come in and your stuff doesn't work, then you can't get a permit. If you're Saddam Hussein and you come in, you hit all the stops, congratulations, Saddam, here's your permit. You've got to perform, you've got to put the information together. And in spite of everybody wanting to move things along, they just got to hit their stops.
I spoke with Dan as well, several times already. He's very aggressive. He's not going to be one to sit back and obviously working alongside yourself or the building inspector is really important. So.
Has he gone to the permitting office to talk to anybody in the office about?
He's talking to the building commissioner.
Yeah,
He has, he's talked,
building
okay, so
inspector.
he knows what he has.
We talked on the phone and I sent him to Paul to make sure, and
Okay.
Paul and I are making sure we're on the same page.
All right, so he knows what he has to produce and he knows that the expedience of that is going to, in turn, get his project moved
I
along.
always have that come to Jesus speech with people.
Good.
When I spoke to him originally, I did advise him that to have his project conform and not waste time, but not have to bring it to the zoning board for a variance on a side lot or something like that, but to make it absolutely conform in dimensional requirements. Because if you take it to zoning, and I know of what I speak, that's another 3-month delay.
Yeah, and this is a fairly standard
Yeah.
application. I mean, there's a lot of these things around what he's proposing.
Right,
It's not like we're splitting out.
yeah. So if Joanne would like to make a motion?
I'll second it.
I move that we ask Sharon or the committee to accept the P&S as written, and she will sign it and date it,
I will second that.
Is there a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous. And I will be happy to sign it right now. Do I send this, do I e-file this back to the attorney?
Yeah, it's a Karen, yeah,
Okay.
Catherine.
And then-
And we should probably, and I'll tell Catherine to just interact with his attorney, give him
Okay.
give him a copy of it. Make sure you say chair. I want you
Look at that,
to
right there.
designate my friend.
She likes to put me in the big seat.
And you have to sign the front to the agreement time.
Bye. And we do have a vote on record that one person, one of our officers, can sign any document as voted by the,
Right.
all righty then. So where else did you want me to sign it?
The very beginning is a date. You said that?
February 17th?
Oh, great, thank you.
I can fill in the blanks.
Yeah, don't-
All righty then, so once more into the breach. We have the treasurer's update. We'll have minutes now, but I'm not 1,000% sure that
I didn't print
sent
them out. I didn't
send them out, did I? Okay.
No, I didn't
No,
print them out.
okay, then we will table the minutes from our last meeting until our next meeting. I'm sorry, Sue. Are there any comments by the membership?
Well, this may be under topics not reasonably assumed. I see Mr. Tracy's here from the North Carver Water District. Are you here for a reason, sir?
Just in case you guys.
Oh, I'm so
Information from me.
I was hoping you'd stay. I tried to get in here early enough to go to your meeting, but didn't.
Have you had communication with the Hillwood people?
Yeah,
To any extent?
We've met a couple of times. It's about, for them, it's all about, can you provide the water? And for us, the answer is always yes.
All right.
So.
All right,
we
is
have
there,
water.
I mean, other than what they're doing on their property with the water tower and all the associated hardware that goes with that, is there any other infrastructure needs that you will be asking them for?
No, so provided that the standpipe that they put up is adequate and meets the requirements for the distribution area, we're perfectly happy with that.
Okay.
It really kind of equals their trading infrastructure for assessment. They don't get an assessment, so they build a standpipe instead.
Okay.
It's worth $2.5 million to us every day.
Okay,
So, they're happy with that kind of a trade-off.
okay,
I would hope that, because I'm assuming that their engineer designed the standpipe, the specifications should be peer-reviewed.
yes, and I think that's all contingent upon the agreement with the fire department and their water needs.
Yes, yes.
And I know that part of that is that Hillwood needs to come in front of conservation, so to lobby for or get permission for the fire department to pull water from the reservoir that's adjacent to the
Okay.
coal bogs.
Sure.
And in order to do that, they need the ice to melt, so they can go out and mark where they
Okay.
want to do that, so.
Should be tomorrow.
Public safety, I'm going to, as the chair of the North Carver, I'm going to defer to Chief Weston on the public safety thing.
Okay,
He's the guy that I go to for public safety.
All right.
So I'm gonna defer to him. Whatever Chief Weston wants is
Okay.
whatever Hillwood should do,
all right.
because that's,
But this water tower also ties back into the North Carver
It does.
system and supplies a common pressure.
it has the potential to do good things for North Carver Water District.
Okay.
And we're very hopeful that it kind of works out the way that it does,
Okay,
or the way that we think it's going to. We're
Right.
hopeful for that. Either way, regardless of zoning heights,
yeah,
the standpipe's gonna go in, whether they do a 40-foot
Exactly.
Yes.
development or a 65-foot high development.
Yes.
The standpipe's going in, because otherwise, we're gonna assess them.
Right.
That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's the assessment is the leverage that we're using to get the infrastructure built.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Are you permitted for enough gallons per,
Yes.
you don't have to go for another permit?
No, we do not need to seek new source approval from the state at our current permit. We still have plenty of water in our permit.
Oh, great, okay.
Now, I believe that one of the amendments is for an allowance for height for accessory structures. And that, I think, is predicated on the fact that, early on, that it's not going to be a municipal water source, but that the plans are to make it that.
Two factors involved with the height of a standpipe. It needs to be able to communicate with the treatment plant, which
Okay.
shouldn't be too difficult. It also needs to provide adequate pressure for the highest point within the distribution system, and that would tend to be up towards Lakenham Green,
Yep.
near the old landfill.
All right.
Interesting fact, the two highest points in the town of Carver, anybody?
The landfill?
The South Carver landfill
And
and the North Carver landfill.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
two-
wow.
The two highest points in the town of Carver.
We have names for those.
Yes, we do. Additionally, the former highest point within the town of Carver was, when I was a kid, we called it Mount Misery, behind where the McDonald's is.
okay.
So North Carver tends to be very high anyway. Again, that's whether the accessory structure is 125 feet or 165 feet is all dependent upon engineering factors.
Okay.
As long as it's high enough to provide adequate pressure to the highest point within the distribution system and can communicate with the treatment plant, we're satisfied with
All
that.
right. Mr. Bod, can you shed any light on why they would put this amendment in for an accessory structure, meaning a water tower?
I thought you guys did.
No.
No, I think that was Chief Weston.
Was it Chief Weston?
Could
Just on the,
And
because
then
if
maybe
it's
when-
municipal, then
when
it
they got
gets waived.
reviewed.
Yes.
That the zoning gets waived.
Correct.
So I think that, we as an RDA have been fairly involved with all emergency services. We've
Right.
been a little bit less involved with North Carver Water District.
Right.
We've been letting you talk with them, but I just want to make sure that we're not missing something along the way.
The only thing that might be missing is making sure that the height of that standpipe is correct. And
Okay.
again, that's,
All right, well-
I'm sure that their engineer is designing, anytime you go up, you get more expensive.
Well, I guess my concern is, and I don't know the answer to this, is that because there is an amendment on the town warrant,
Right.
allowing it to be that high, what happens if it fails?
Exactly. You don't want to, if it doesn't adequately service the distribution area, then it's $2.5 million of wasted money.
Right, but they're asking for the zoning change to go that high.
Correct.
And if it's voted down, I don't know what the next step is. If automatically they turn it over and they make it a municipal system that they pay for, in which case the zoning bylaw gets voided.
Ultimately, it becomes the property of the North Carver Water District.
Yes, okay.
I
know, and that's the
Ultimately, it's
end.
going to return to us as infrastructure.
I know that's the end game. And I'm just wondering if maybe that should be the beginning game.
Yeah.
So that we get rid of the amendment.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't, but it's
Again,
maybe
that's-
too late now.
Yeah, well,
No, it can always be
No, it don't.
pulled. Is it, maybe
Well,
that's
maybe.
something, maybe it's something we need to look at with the chief and
Yeah, we should
North
probably
Carver.
do that.
Kevin
Discuss it with the
Tracy and,
chief.
Okay.
with the chief.
All right.
Okay.
make sure, and have your engineer, whoever's
Yeah,
Fuss O'Neill?
they'll do the site plan review,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they've looked at it already.
I'm sure they have. Make sure that it's going to be high enough to adequately service.
I'm sure it will be. That's not really the concern. The concern
Again,
is
yeah,
it's something to be voted on whether it can be that high.
Exactly.
And I'm, I don't know what happens if the vote's no.
Is that-
The average height of a standpipe is 165 feet.
Yes. Okay.
Whether we need 165 feet or 125 is good enough.
That's the chief that determined that, didn't he? He
Well,
wanted.
no, it's the engineer that determines
It's the
it,
chief-
based on what
But
Kevin...
he had a specific amount of
The chief needed a
water.
certain amount of pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
He needed pressure, and he needed
He needed
capacity.
volume,
Need
capacity, yeah.
So,
Exactly.
But he also is supplementing the capacity with in-ground cisterns.
Yes, he is.
For
I think the chief is asking for like 3/4 gallons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
Standing water.
standing one,
in-ground or above ground or whatever.
Right. And even
for the-
more if he-
For the purposes of fire protection.
Yes.
That would be in addition to the 125,000 gallons that's going to be in the standpipe.
yep,
Right, but I think that, yes, but I think that there's also a threshold on the standpipe under which they will stop using it for fire suppression, so that the rest of the...
80,000 is the
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
I've been told.
Yeah, and the in-ground water storage, it also would be completely dependent upon the approval to use the reservoir,
Right.
because that's going to give them, another...
Exactly, well, the reservoir is huge.
It's huge, yeah.
Isn't the cistern for fighting fires in the building, and the water tower is for the outside of the building?
Yes.
I don't
No?
think that's specifically the case.
No?
I think the fire suppression storage is for the purposes of fire suppression, whether it's inside or out.
Okay.
doesn't he have a hydrant system?
I think that
Yeah.
the water tower is feeding the hydrants, because
Right.
that's the pressure they would need.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the cistern would be for primarily the automated fire suppression, the sprinkler systems
Right.
inside, plus is also a secondary source for them to pump with their pumpers.
Exactly.
But the primary exterior
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
supply is going to come from the tower, because
Would be-
that
would
has
be
the built-in
hydrants.
pressure.
Okay, all right. Interesting, very critical.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to get it, you want to get it
You
right.
want to get it right.
You want to get it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it doesn't do what it's designed to do, what's
You've
the
wasted a
point?
lot of
Right.
money.
What's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah.
Right.
We
Well,
have
they've
to-
done this before, so
Yeah.
Hillwood.
We have to instill the confidence to the taxpayers
Yes.
at the meeting.
I've learned to trust engineers, lawyers, and accountants. So you got to take the best advice that you
And I trust, Mr. Casey, you will be a spokesman for us at the town meeting?
I am a firm believer that this is a good thing for the town
Thank you.
as a whole.
Thank you.
Not just the North Carver Water District. It has the potential to do good things for the North Carver Water District, but the town as a whole will benefit from this.
Right.
Yeah.
and does the North Carver Water District need any support from the RDA right now? Can we, we work pretty closely with the developer as far as getting information and getting, not stuff, but getting,
They've been pretty clear when they need questions.
When they're in town,
answered,
okay.
They make sure that they get back to me or.
Okay.
Or.
okay,
And that's
good.
kind of what they've said to us, too.
Yeah, that's what
They circle back to me every so often.
Yep.
Somebody's email will cross through cross my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of my regular agenda items.
Yep.
Okay.
So, they're free to come in and talk to us at any time, and they do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, good.
They touch base regularly.
Oh, good, I'm glad
Great.
you came in.
Yep,
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
all right.
You can go home. Home and get warm.
Yeah.
That was my comment.
Yeah. You brought him
Bye,
in?
Kevin. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's good.
I
That's good.
actually,
Because we haven't been hearing from them, so
well, I
I was getting
actually
a little
was
nervous.
trying to get into room 3 at 5:30 for the meeting, but I wasn't able to leave on time. So, all right, our next meeting, other than March 2nd, should we try to meet beforehand? A quick,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we haven't
Yes.
actually voted to
We should.
endorse
So
the
we should
meeting.
meet next week, because
should
that's-
meet
or-
even-
Or the Tuesday, maybe the 1st?
We can meet on Tuesday the 1st if you wanted, but I think the only agenda item would be the zoning articles, because we haven't
Planning
actually,
board's meeting the next day, yeah, talking about the planning board.
right, we're meeting on, but our board ourselves have not actually voted to endorse them,
Okay.
which I would like to, very
Yeah,
much to
good,
do.
yeah.
So is, it-
What time on the second again? I'm sorry.
no, the second is, that's the Wednesday.
I'm sorry,
That's
what
at
time?
7.
7, got it.
So the joint meeting is
Is-
March 2nd. We're asking to meet when?
The first,
The 1st. Paul, you free? the
March 1st?
yeah.
Yes.
And that'll be the evening of the next working group meeting as well,
Oh, okay,
which is good.
okay.
And we're going to vote on the, or endorse, I should say, the articles.
I hope all those texts weren't like my security system, because Ron's not home either. So, put down the 1st and shoot for 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I'll try to get here.
Okay.
All right. So it'll be the articles, the minutes.
FinCom's
Oh, yeah,
meeting
the-
at 6, so we may not have Pat.
They're meeting at 6 that day?
That's what it says. Select Board, FinCom, both at 6.
6?
Oh, I wonder if they're doing a joint meeting.
With the select board? Probably, right?
Yeah, it must be a joint meeting of some
If we,
kind.
if we need to vote, is there a chance we can do it at like 5:30?
Paul, you're the,
I don't know, what about, that's a little hard for Paul.
yeah, it's hard for him.
I know that.
I could try. I don't have anything currently.
I don't think a half an hour would be enough time just to actually kind of go through them, unless you just wanted to take them as a slate.
I don't have my
I
calendar.
think if we send them out, I mean, the links, they're out there. I think if we all read them, we just have to endorse it. And we've
Okay.
been living this for a year,
Yeah.
so.
I printed them out, he just told us.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
already printed them out, I'm ready to read them.
Yeah, so,
All right, we'll set it for 5:30. Paul, if you can make it, that would be great.
Sounds good.
Oh, so 5:30 now?
5:30, so we can vote, and then.
So we
Pat
can
go
vote,
to
and then
his,
Pat can leave.
And if you're gonna be a little late, Paul, just let us know, because we can hold the vote till 5 minutes to 6. Pat can still
Right.
get upstairs on time.
That sounds good.
Okay. And I will post that. At least I know the RDA won't be down here. Is there anything else?
No.
No?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor for adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you very much.